It is not our normal time to go live. I just realized that I probably should have thought this through a little bit more. And I don't know, found a way to hold this better.
Good morning to all of our lovely watchers on the West Coast. And good evening if you're in the UK. I guess it's like time. 5 o'clock there.
So we're not expecting a huge audience this morning. I really feel like this is going to be okay. We're not really expecting a huge audience this morning. We didn't get to all of the questions last night on our live. Hey, Nick Pick Thrift. Hey, it's going to be hard. I'm used to having a big screen. Thank you so much. I'm used to having a huge screen.
And sorry if it's going to be a little bumpy. We're driving, so if you've got vertigo,
I'm sorry. We're doing our best.
Image stabilization
on my phone. Hello from Denmark, and hello, Uncle Bo
awesome.
Knows.
Denmark, that's awesome.
What time is it in Denmark right now?
Probably like 6 p.m., 5 p.m. somewhere.
That's cool.
Maybe.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're here. We are driving to Springdale, Arkansas to meet with liquidators. We talk all the time about building relationships with liquidators, and we have only been able to do that on the phone. But this time we actually have the opportunity. You know, even with COVID and everything, we're gonna take our precautions. We got our masks and stuff, but we're gonna go and we're gonna build a relationship with them, ask some questions, and take home some pallets. So I'm really excited about that. If you guys have any questions about that process, that's what this is for. This live stream is for. Hello from Turkey. Hello from Turkey.
Awesome.
That's cool.
That's crazy.
So if you guys are interested in all of that, you know, and here's your question. Here's your questions. Ask your questions.
Here's your questions.
But I do. We did last night film a mailbag, so you guys should see that on Monday, which are some questions that a lot of people have answered. Yeah. So Nikki says that her next step is to buy Liquidation. So that's really exciting. Very cool. I'm rooting for you. I'm really excited about that. So yeah, we're just gonna answer some questions. If you guys have any, I'll answer those for you. But I do have some that I'd like to, maybe I can try and answer for you. So yeah, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put those in there. But let's see. There was one that says, "How did you start your business? The beginning of your business." And see, the startup stories are always really, really cool. I love those. But actually, the story started with Joe working. You want to tell that story?
Yeah. Let me change lanes real quick. And I'm not going to try to look at the camera, so I apologize if I'm not as engaged, but I'm driving. But I originally started reselling at a very, very young age. I was the typical, I don't say typical, the typical entrepreneurial story you hear. Like, I was the kid that would, buy baseball cards and go to the card shop and sell them and buy more of them and flip cards. I would drive my bicycle across town, like 2 miles on my bicycle, to buy airheads for a dime and sell them at school for a quarter. So I've always had that in me. It kind of reselling as a more professional way. It started, I was married before Jessica, my ex-wife. She had a dream of hers was to go to audio engineering school. So I quit my job, found a new job in Nashville, Tennessee, so that she could go to audio engineering school. We went from 2 incomes to 1 income, and when we were there, I'm like, this is like, we're making a lot less money than what we normally do. So I just started selling stuff around our house on eBay, like books from college, DVDs that I no longer watched, calculators, just anything that I could find. I started that. And then once I sold all of that, I started going around to like thrift stores, like Goodwills, Salvation Armies. Local thrift stores are my favorites. And I started buying women's jeans. I I just found it easy. Like, you go in, you look at the butts, the seams to see the quality of it, and I would buy those. And it was one day I was in one Goodwill, and I heard an advertisement for shopgoodwill.com, and I hated shopping, right? I hated going to stores.
Still does.
I don't really like. I like people, but from a distance. But it opened me up to this whole world of online buying to resell. So I started buying lots of stuff from shopgoodwill.com. I started buying lots. What?
Nick says she wouldn't have pegged you for a women's jeans kind of man.
I did. I've been like, I always felt guilty because I wasn't checking women's butts out. I was checking their jeans out. But I'm like, those are citizens of humanity. Those are like $100 pairs of jeans. But it just opened me up when I found shopgoodwill.com, the online world of buying, because I knew that I didn't have a lot of time, so I needed to save time somewhere in my reselling business. And one way to do that is to buy online in bulk, so that you don't have to spend as much time sourcing. You could then spend that time listing and doing research of finding better items to sell. So that's kind of how it originally started. I got promoted to microbarrel maybe 6 months after that, and I didn't have to do that anymore. And then I got busy, but I had a box of phones that I had bought online, and I guess if we make a long story or short story, I don't know. I don't know if anyone's asking questions.
They like the story.
And I know I've told this story a lot, but we've had so many new subscribers, so I'm going to go ahead and tell it. But I missed home, so I ended up quitting that and moving back home. And I was tired of the corporate world. I was tired of working somebody else's dream, all of those things. And just through prayer, I'm like, God, I'm tired of living this life of working for somebody else. I want to do my own thing. So it was one Friday evening. I was driving my motorcycle, and the Lord was like, do you trust me? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, no, do you trust me? And I'm like, yeah. And at this point, like, his presence was so heavy, like I'm like crying and stuff. And he's like, do you trust me? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, all right, well, when you go to work on Monday, I want you to put your 2 weeks. So here I am, over 6 years. I guess it's right around, it'd have been 6 years around this time, because I gave my notice like the first. It was like in June, maybe. Well, I gave my notice the first week of August, in 2014, I guess, and so that's crazy. And so here we are. And then we are married,
still selling cell phones. That is still part of our business because we have not been told to stop.
Yeah. It's just harder to get them now because of COVID.
Let me see. Let me go back on here. I want to double check on this.
And I don't advise following that path of becoming a reseller or a full-time reseller. Like, that's what we advise against, unless you just have a word from God that is what you're supposed to do. Because when you do, He will sustain it. But if it's just you doing it, like, it can be a pretty scary thing to just quit a job where you know how much money you're going to make, and then you start a job where you don't know, like, you're totally dependent upon what somebody else is going to buy from you.
Right.
And we always recommend, if you have desire to go full-time, that you start part-time and you build up to it, and you put enough money in the bank so that you have money, so that when you make that transition, you have something to fall back on, and you have some security.
Yes, I mean, we like I said, I talk a lot about us having eggs in a lot of baskets, and that's really important in this business because you can't rely on any one basket to feed you and your family. I did see a question back here. I'm pretty sure.
And if y'all do have questions, put them in all caps.
Yeah, if you can put them in all caps, it makes it a lot easier for me to find them. Especially, I'm on a phone right now, so it's not what I'm used to. But Nick Pig Thrift wants to know, what's the worst profit margin or biggest loss you took? Actually, our first pallet, we were lucky to make our money back on that.
Yeah.
But I do know it's kind of difficult to think about it that way because majority of our pallets we got from truckloads. So, you know, the loss of one pallet, we made up tenfold on another pallet.
Yeah.
So, you know, we were looking at it by truckload, not necessarily by individual pallets there. But we have lost money on some pallets.
I'd say there's been twice. Out of all the individual pallets that we've purchased, we have only lost money twice. And one of those you will see on Extreme Unboxing when it premieres. I believe this episode will air on August the 11th. You'll see it.
But we did lose money on that one.
But we did lose money.
But I think that's good. I think people need to see that is a very real possibility. Hi, Jennifer. Let's see. Anne's on here. Anne is one of our CrossFit family. And we love her very much. She pretty much knows everything about everything. I love her.
She does.
Let's see. Going through. Uncle Bo wants to know that, well, at the time there was 19 people here. She's like, are we almost there? Sandra M is in Little Rock, and her husband are happy to have found us, and they're starting their liquidation journey soon. So very cool. That's exciting. Maybe I'll see you around.
And I don't know. I know Nino's Trading in Little Rock. They sell Walmart pallets. I don't advise Walmart pallets. Personally, from my personal experience, there are people that make money doing Walmart pallets, but they buy in bulk. They buy a lot of them. But if you're looking for liquidators close, there is Springdale or Southern Liquidation in Springdale, which we're going to today to build that relationship. There's also Market Street something in Springfield, Missouri, which is 3 hours away. And then there's another place in Rogers. It's like, I don't know what it is. We're going to build relationships with them, but we haven't had time to yet.
Hello, Bargain Effect.
What's up?
What is going on? Oh, our lame-o friend is on here. Sleepless Hustler. And Cajun Reseller. Hello.
What's up, Cajun?
Marie says it's 6:41 where she's at. Are we there yet?
Good morning. Hey, Cajun, you said you were going to be going to Fayetteville. Let us know when you're coming through Conway. But if you go through Conway again and you don't let us know, we're going to have problems.
We're going to find you. Sherry says good morning. Let's see. Everybody's saying hello, 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 hello. Hey, we were just talking about you, TJ. We got the coffee you and your wife bought us last night.
Yes.
Yeah. Woohoo!
And I wanted to get
$5.
Sweet. There's another one that you missed, a $2 one.
Oh, Uncle Bo! Woo! I think it might be easier for his ears if we're in the car.
I wanted. We have a local coffee shop called Zateo's where we are. I wanted them, but we've got the trailer behind us.
And there was no way we were getting downtown.
No way. So Starbucks had to do.
Blood, Sweat, and Sell. Good to see you. Good to see you. Deborah Taylor. We are in Central Arkansas, so we're located out of Conway, Arkansas, about 30 minutes from Little Rock. So that's where we are, but we are heading to Springdale, Arkansas, which is about 2.5 hours away, to make relationships with some liquidators out there, and take home some pallets. So this is a live Q&A, so we get a lot of people who like to ask questions, and we just like to talk and get to know everybody, and have everybody get to know us.
Yep.
And so yes, questions are always on our live videos. Questions are always welcome. So Seattle area, I went to oh man, it's like a really long word. I came into the Seattle airport, but I can't remember where it was. It's like Wachitaka Tukachiki. I butchered that. I really need to figure.
Maybe they know.
I'm really trying to. Hachi.
I just laughed like.
I can't remember it, but it was. It was gorgeous. So yeah. Oh, here's a question. We actually answered this on our mailbag question last night, but I'm gonna answer it again. What is the goal of your YouTube channel? Where do you see yourself in 1 year? And you know, Joe and I, we talk a lot about this because we're just so blown away by the crazy amount of support that we've gotten over the past, goodness, 2 years now. I mean, the 2 years ago, I mean, we were putting in so many hours worth of work for pennies, but it was something that we always had passion for, and I think that's what drove us to this moment where now we're just getting so much support, we're getting seen, and there's just all this stuff happening, and it's a little overwhelming. But I think the biggest thing for us is that, you know, it was never really about the views, and it was never really about the subscribers, but it was about really helping people like chase after their dreams and not get stuck in this, well, this is what I have to do. I think a lot of times we grow up, especially, and I can't speak for everybody because we all have different cultures where we're from. We're all from different places. So this may not be true for everyone, but I know that for me and for Joe and where we come from, you know, there was success was defined by these rungs on a ladder that you climbed up. And it was like you know, you graduate high school and then you go to a 4-year college and then you know, get a really good career and then you get married and then you have kids and then you get the house and you do all of these things. And for a lot of people, that is the dream and that is what they want to do, and that's great. But there are a lot of people who that's not what sets their soul on fire. That's not the thing that gets them out of bed. And I just want to be the kind of person that says, like, hey, your dream is yours for a reason. Like, you were made to dream big, and you were made to do crazy things and impossible things and have impossible dreams. And reselling is one way that you can use, that you can make extra money, and that be the vessel to help you get there. And anybody who's willing to do the work and anybody who's willing to have that kind of dedication, like, I want to help you get there, and I want to encourage you just by showing you how we do it, showing you how we mess up, and even in like the mistakes of everything, like, you know, we learn so much from our mistakes. We've made a lot of mistakes.
But still do.
Yeah, and still do. But I wouldn't change it for anything, because those mistakes, it's like, okay, well, now I know, you know, I've learned these things because of it. So when you ask me where do we see our channel in 1 year, I would say I don't have like a goal of like views or subscribers, but I do have, like, I want to continue to stay true to that vision and that goal that we set when we started this channel and had no viewership.
Yeah.
So
we want to encourage, equip, and empower people.
Yes.
To go after their dreams and discover and rekindle those dreams.
Let's see. Tommy wants to know, when you guys price to sell, do you price to sell fast or maximize profits? We price to sell fast. Not everybody is like that. I know that, but we are a family of 5. We sell out of our garage. We have a flea market booth. We just don't have a lot of space. And in our experience, cash flow is king. I want the money back in my pocket so I can reinvest it. I don't want to be holding on to it and having all of my money sitting on shelves. So we do comp, like we do our comps, and we figure out how much we're going to sell it for. But we are not opposed to, if it doesn't sell within a couple of weeks, lowering that price week by week until it does sell, just so that we can regain some of that money back. And especially if we got really good margins on the pallet already.
Yeah.
Once we make our money on the pallet and we've doubled our money, if there's anything extra, a lot of times we're just trying to get it out the door so we can go ahead and put that money in somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think
that's a good question, though. Very good question.
The strategy around that, if you have time, I'm sorry, we always talk about time, space, and money. And that strategy, whether you hold on to it to squeeze the profits or you move it, it all depends really on space and money. If you have a lot of space and you have money in the bank, then you have more freedom to be able to hold on to that item to get the most for it. But if you're limited on time, or if you're limited on space and money, then your goal should be to sell items quickly so that you can reinvest and buy more.
Yep. Angel is a new viewer. Welcome to the channel.
Hey,
that's
Angel.
Awesome. Found you from other channels. Been reselling for about 2 months. stay-at-home homeschooling mom. Hey, that's cool.
Awesome.
Very cool. And it's a nice side. It's a nice side income, but list, and have fresh inventory. That is so true. It kind of goes in with that cash flow. You want to keep things moving. You don't want to stagnate your business in any way, even if that means taking a loss in potential profits, so that you can keep things moving and keep things, like you said, fresh. So
I know a lot of people on eBay, like especially in eBay reselling groups, they have like a badge of honor that they use with how many items they have listed. And I want to challenge that, because like you may have 3,000 items listed, and that's awesome, but how many items are you selling a month? Like, I wouldn't say that the number of items listed should be the thing. It should be the number of items that you're selling.
I mean, if you think of any of these, I don't know if any of you guys have experience managing retail, but when you're doing your numbers and you're doing your reports, they are not counting they are for different reasons, but when you're counting the success of your store, they want to know how much each customer is buying in dollars, how many items are they buying, how much, basically how, in different ways, how much money is leaving how much inventory is leaving the store versus how much money is coming into our pockets. They're not talking about how much money is sitting on the shelves. And so it's kind of that same concept. If you have a reselling business, you're working a very retail-like model, and if that's the case, then you want to be counting how much inventory is going out the door and how much money is coming in, not necessarily how much money is sitting on your shelf. So just a different viewpoint. I know other people have different ideas, and of course, that's the beautiful thing about reselling, is that it is something that you can.
There's thousands of different ways.
Different ways, and no way is the right way. It's whatever way works for you. If you're making your money and you're pursuing after your dream, then that's the right way for you. So, let's see. Karen says, hello, good luck on the new pallets. Sending, from Scotland. Very cool. Very cool. TJ says, I have a problem with keeping too much of my product, especially if profit margins are good. So true.
Yes.
It's true.
I think every pallet flipper has that.
There are some things where you're just like, man, I just really.
We've gotten better. I've gotten better. I'm the guilty one.
I am not. I'm very minimalist. I do not like to have a lot of. I do not like. I have generalized anxiety disorder. Just full disclosure, and clutter is a huge trigger, because I used to have issues with like I felt out of control in my life, and so I tried to control my surroundings by making them spotless and making them clean, and I've just found that it's not always the easiest to manage when I have a lot of stuff. So I've adopted a very minimalist lifestyle, and I feel a lot freer when I do that. I don't make Joe do that. I don't make anybody else do that. Just I have a space in our bedroom that's mine. Nobody can touch it, and it is very minimal, and that's a safe place that I can go where I don't have to feel overwhelmed, and I can just like take a minute. So so I don't have as much of an issue with that, but I do sometimes just like, man, I just really, because sometimes you see the potential in stuff. We got 2 cry cut machines, or cricket machines. Dude, I'm sorry.
Thank you everybody for teaching us how to say it.
Yes, I got 2 cricket machines, and I was like, man, the potential of being able to do that. And I'm like, no, listen, I'm not going to get to it.
And I'm like, we don't even have time to do what we want to do now, let alone
try to find a new hobby. Blood, Sweat, and Sell wants to know how often we go to our flea market booth. As often as possible, at least 3 times a week is ideal, because we need to see what sells, and we need to keep the booth full. If you keep the booth full, people are more likely to go in there. So yes, all right. And I'm so sorry. I feel your pain. I feel your pain. I do. But I'm glad that you are learning something from it. Our first pallet that we got was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
It's through those that you learn
the most
to make better educated decisions, try to find out as much information on the front end. Because without that, like if you always win, then you're just gonna like, oh, I make money off this. I make money off this.
The heartbreak. It's heartbreaking to get not a good pallet, but it makes you a better flipper. I was like, I would say that I hate the few times that we have had really bad pallets, but I would not change it, because I am really thankful for the ways that I've learned how to do things, and the bad pallets get less and less and less for the same reason. So let's see. Evan wants to know, do you use one of the inventory tracking applications or go old school booking? We are old school for right now, because it's just the three of us, me, Joe, and Whitney, and we kind of, Whitney, like we all have our like realm of responsibility where we kind of manage it. So we kind of have it. I mean, at some point, if we grow or scale or hire other people, we're going to paper trail, accountant, inventory management type, all the old school stuff, which is fine, because Joe has a degree in business, but I feel like this way really helps me learn the things that I don't know not having a business degree. So I've learned a lot in the old school process, but when we have something that kind of, you know, helps us track it ourselves, I guess that would be more beneficial if we had more people, because we'd have more hands in the basket. So let's see, where are we at? Louise. Hi, new to liquidation. Is it normal to have people wait outside of a warehouse and run inside and fight for a pallet? Whoa, no.
It's normal for our society. It's unfortunate, but I think whenever there's opportunity for somebody to better their situation and they're living on edge, there's always that potential. I mean, just think Black Friday, people fighting for deals.
Yeah. I've never experienced that.
Yeah. Like we've never been to a liquidation. Like we never.
Dude,
we've
wait
never
a minute.
Stepped into.
Wait a minute. What are we walking into? Driving up to the.
I don't know. We have never been.
Is there something that we need to know, guys?
A liquidation company before. We've been doing this for over 2 years. We have only bought online or through relationships that we've built from liquidators afar.
Let's see. Oh yes, okay. Let's see. TJ is talking to Louise. I think it's Louise. Luis. Louise.
Depends if.
Yeah, it depends, I guess.
Mr. Lewis.
Okay. Well, he's just helping out.
Cool.
So thank you, TJ. One of our business ran around one of Tommy's businesses ran around a Cricut type machine. Very cool. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. I remember that. You had said something about that. Hello, Adventures in Reselling. Hello.
Hey, Victoria.
It's so good to see you.
Is that Victoria?
Yes. Let's see. And then Sleepless Hustler, hit thumbs up, taking a lot of losses. It's part of the learning experience. It is. Yeah. It is.
And we hate that. Like, we know by us doing unboxing videos and always winning that people are going to rush out and buy things expecting the same thing, but not realize that's why we like, if you're only watching our unboxing videos, you're doing yourself a disservice in the learning process. Like, we go over a lot of that stuff in our vlogs, in these live streams, in the little how-to tutorial videos that we do, that there's a lot of, it's not just something that you just go and you buy and expect to make that much every time. Like, yeah, there's a lot to know, and if you don't, then you have the opportunity to lose a lot of money before you even get the pallet.
Blood, Sweat, and Sell says, what's your top 2 reselling channels on YouTube? Our whole life really revolves around reselling, so sometimes it's just watching more videos about it. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming, so we try to take lots of breaks. So there's nobody that we watch like super religiously. I think my favorite like person that I like to watch that does what we do would be Pallet Jackin. Yeah. I really like his videos. And he and his wife.
Daily refinement, but he's strategy. I watch some of Dominic, the primetime hunter.
Yeah.
I watch some of Raking Profits just because we've been friends with them for a long time.
But I do watch, like, you know, all the big resellers, like, every once in a while. I do want to see. I'm interested in their lives. I'm interested in and invested in their success. So all of these other resellers, I try to jump on their lives as often as I can, even if it's just for a few minutes to support and hit the like button and, you know, maybe add a comment or two. And so, you know, like, I know that, you know, there's a lot of other resellers out there, you know, we're all in this together, and I just want to be supportive, but also, you know, learn to step back and take a break and take a breather. So it's kind of finding that balance.
And I, for one, I've never watched a lot of television anyways, or a lot of YouTube. So, like, it's hard for me to sit down for that long of a period of time because I'm like, my mind's always going, or are we gonna get it back? Are we back?
I'm so sorry.
This is Arkansas.
We must have hit. Oh no.
Is it done?
Oh no.
If we're still on, leave a comment.
I need somebody to comment and tell us we're still on here. We may be cutting this a little short if we're already getting to. Let's see. Let me go back down to the bottom and see. Well, okay, we're here.
All right, cool.
All right, thank you guys. If it happens again, we'll have to. I'll make a thing and we'll have to reschedule this. But I think we're okay. I think we may have just hit between two cell towers. This is like, we're in rural. Like, this is rural. This is Arkansas here, guys.
In
like,
Arkansas, like, there's only like 2.5 million people, I think, the whole state. But they're like in very big population clusters where you get in between those, there's just trees and hills.
Yeah.
Or marshlands in Delta, depending on where you are at in the state.
Hey, Auto Buff, good to see you. He says that Amazon pallets are too risky due to their liberal return policy and too much return fraud. That is true. There is quite a bit of return fraud in Amazon. But we have bought like truckloads of Amazon return pallets and actually did pretty well on them for the most part. Just having realistic expectations and not paying too much for those kinds. Even with the risk, spend bukus of money on, you know. Are there pallets that we stay away from, like clothing pallets? We do not like clothing. Don't like auto parts. Not necessarily because they're not profitable, but because I don't know enough about it, and I don't like it. I don't. Yeah, I don't like it. So
we stay away from Walmart unless I can see the pallet.
Yeah.
And if I was to get from Walmart, it would be .com. They usually call those black wrap pallets.
Yeah.
But I definitely would. Me personally, I don't want Walmart in-store returns.
Yeah. Yep. Because we've done it before. What would it be wise to save up money to buy a truckload at one time or just buy pallets? I thought about buying a Lowe's truck full of tools or loads of tools.
Well, first, I would say I don't know what percentage of retail that
this is Sleepless Hustler
trying to charge you for the Lowe's truckloads, but you've got to be very wary sometimes about like Home Depot and Lowe's. But I'd say if you haven't done it before, one thing that we did, like we bought 4 pallets and then 5 pallets. We bought 1 pallet and then 2 times we purchased 2 pallets. And then we went into buying truckloads right after that.
Yeah.
And it was, we went too big too fast. And so we don't advise it unless you have lots of money that you can learn from to do it. But I would advise not buying a whole truckload to start off with. I would, get 3 or 4 or 5 pallets. Figure
out and also, you don't, if you don't know precisely what's on the pallet and you don't know if it's going to sell very well in your area, it might be good to experiment with a couple of pallets, figure out what your community needs or how you can, if it sells well in your area, and then look into truckloads.
Yeah, but I know with Lowe's and Home Depot, it can be very enticing to buy a truckload because you can get a whole truckload for like $4,000 to $5,000, whereas a pallet may cost you $400 to $500.
Let me see here. Melissa Earls. Welcome to our lives. We usually do them in the evenings. We're just kind of catching up from last night. But she's a fellow. I don't know how to. There we go. I'm so sorry, y'all. Oh, I lost it. Hold on. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. This is not as easy on a phone.
No, we usually have our computer there.
Okay, first live, fellow Conway resident. Hey,
awesome.
That's cool. Very intrigued by Liquidation Pallets. Working up the nerve to buy my first one. Well, we're rooting for you. That's awesome. Just make sure you do your research because man, we make a lot of mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes.
And if you are wanting to get something local, I know there's a guy named James. He has Natural State Liquidators. He does what we do. He goes and he buys pallets. He does sell the items individually, but he does also sell whole pallets also. So you may reach out to him, Natural State Liquidators, and go and pick one up. He even delivers for free within 25 miles.
So if you're in Conway, that would be you.
Yeah.
So that might be a good place to start because it's a lot lower cost. Amazon, Target, or Lowe's pallet, which is best? That definitely depends. It depends on where you are.
Probably,
I'd say
quality.
Target.